Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Enterprise Minds. Good to be with you. We got Alex and Dave here. Today's going to be a bit more of a down in the weeds kind of tactical conversation around what it is we have been discovering in our AI usage lately. So I know for me, coming off of the last episode, we talked about my kind of oh crap moments with Claude. I am continuing to have those, just more specifically now. And we can get into that. But Alex, what have you been doing? Did you get your lawn care thing done? Did you get anything on top of that completed?
I did. Of course I did. Come on.
Of course you do. Yeah, I know you, but the audience.
Yeah. Claude Cowork basically mainly stuff the last couple of weeks, but I did get the lawn care agent up and running, and so far it's been working pretty well. I'll get into a little bit on that as well. And then I did a work from home fitness one, which was kind of had a rather comedic beginning, and it's getting better. And then I've got a couple others that I did as well. So I can kind of run through a couple of them. So the lawn care one was cool. It's a website that I found that does like optimal lawn care temperature readings and stuff like that. It's from University of Michigan. The website's great. It basically just kind of tells you when about you need to put down certain things to help your lawn, right? And this is one of those perfect examples of something that I want to make an agent, because I don't really care about the process.
Right.
I just want the output. It's overly complex for how much I care.
That might be the best sort of like, decision tree piece of it.
I think so. I mean,
yeah,
because like there's a lot of things that are worth doing yourself because you want to learn,
right.
or they're of interest. You're trying to expand your knowledge, or you have enough expertise in the area, especially because then you're able to kind of really double check what the agent or, output is. But then there's also those other areas where you're just like, my gosh, just get it done. I don't care.
Right.
This hits that category for me. So it's kind of an interesting thing. So it checks the websites. I also have it give me a notification on my Google Calendar 2 weeks ahead of time to buy the product that's about to be used. It also checks the local forecasts and windows and stuff like that, because you shouldn't put down like grass seed when it's about to have a giant storm, because it's all going to go in the gutter.
Right.
Or if there's no rain at all in the future, it's going to die. Like, you need something to kind of make that work, or high winds even are a thing. So it does a few checks like that. It doesn't do it constantly. It only does it like if there's into the next 10 days, there's likely something I need to do. Then it starts checking the weather. So it kind of tells me like, this is the best day for it. Like this Saturday is great, Sunday, not so good, that kind of thing. So it's perfect. I mean, it tells me what I need to do, when, all the rest. That's as much as I want to put into lawn care. It's great. Right. Has taken some tweaking. The other piece about that is having something that searches online, opens a browser, reviews that information. So likely you're using Claude for Chrome, so that it now has a connection point to Chrome so that it can navigate and do things. It's also has full access to my Google Calendar, and it's able to take over my computer. You can watch it do it as it, like literally if you move Windows on top of it, it can't do its job. So it has to take over your computer to open up the calendar app, start selecting things, and you can see it, as it kind of makes its decisions. It talks about what it sees and what it's doing. And if a window opens on top of it, it's like, I can't no longer do this. I need to switch windows, and it'll switch the window back. So you have to kind of just let it go. It's rather slow about it too. I mean, it's not exactly the fastest thing either. So kind of keep that in mind. But also it only works because it has to check online consistently. Right. That means my laptop cannot go to sleep. It has to be awake all the time so that it can check when it needs to. It can't turn the computer on, and it can't run without it being on. It also has to have full access to my browser at all times so that it can go out to this website, multiple times a week.
That doesn't make you nervous?
Oh, it did. I mean, I cut its access at once because I created that along with a couple other agents, and then I asked it. I was like, "How much access do you actually need?" Because I've given you like, wait, I feel like way too much.
Right.
And it's like, "Oh, you can cut the access here, here, and here." And I was like, "Okay, I'll do that." And then of course, then my agents start failing, so it was not accurate in that. So, um, so yeah, now it can go on the browser, view everything, click around. It's a little concerning. Um, there's also a phone app if you want to do
Hmm.
Claude cowork or code stuff off your phone. It's still running off of the desktop app on your laptop, but you can use your phone. And there's an app, a part of Claude that's called Dispatch. And if you
Hmm.
use Dispatch, basically you start talking to your desktop app through
Yeah.
that with your phone. So then you're able to still do cowork related things on your phone, which is cool. You can set up whole scheduling things. I had it once do a plant watering schedule just from my phone, and it set it up so now it's one of the scheduled events that I get a Slack notification. I give it its own Slack channels and stuff like that, so that I know what notifications are coming in. But
Hmm.
those have been cool. And honestly, I've been looking online a lot for what other personal usage uh, Claude agents are out there, and there's like next to none.
Yeah.
It's astounding how people have been very, very work focused with these agents and not really thinking about like, hey, I could do this for home. I mean, I saw one for groceries, which was smart. You basically give it photos of your kitchen pantry, your fridge, your freezer, all this other stuff. So it identifies all the stuff, um, gives you recipes throughout the week. And then I've talked before on the show about that. It
Hmm.
gives you like how long each thing will take. So it gives you like the timing. So if you're cooking multiple things, it's like do this now and do this later. So it all
Right.
ends up at the same time. Really smart way to kind of do that. And then either you're using Instacart or something like that for your groceries, or you take a photo of your grocery receipt to give it updates on the new things you bring into your house. Which I thought
Hmm.
that was a smart workaround. As someone on Reddit had used that, and I was like, that's a good idea. Because in the past, I've used things like Supercook and some other apps. That was the biggest pain. It was basically is how do you constantly keep this thing updated when you're, of course, consuming things throughout the week.
Right.
But yeah,
Interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
I've never done anything with that, but the meal planning could be
that's cool.
useful.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was really nice because like I have some obscure ingredients of occasionally from random recipes, right? And you get the
Hmm.
leftover, three-quarters of a bottle of whatever, and it's like, how on earth am I ever going to use this? Like,
That's my problem with hosting Thanksgiving and Christmas, and like our I
oh
do a
yeah,
lot of the cooking for that. So it's like I have half a pound of parsley.
that's a lot of parsley, Dave. But yeah, I guess if you buy a bunch of it at a time, you're like, I used a little bit, a handful.
Yeah. Or
But
like I totally mistook the numbers when I'm in Whole Foods, you know.
sure,
I should this should have been, you know, this other herb, but I got a bunch of parsley.
random. Yeah,
Um yeah, so it's interesting that you gave the computer control. Thank you for sacrificing your own life
I know.
for for our
Yeah.
benefit.
There's so many warnings across it too, because it could totally see non-visible malicious code somewhere, which would instruct it to do something and it would do it.
Mhm.
That is entirely possible.
Yeah.
So
We'll get to
give me
that
full
headline
access
in
to
a
my
little bit.
browser, which,
Yeah.
passwords, everything. Oh man. So
Yeah.
okay, tell me about yours. Like, how's it been going?
So, um actually this is a good intro thing. Like I had a coworker. I've been trying to get together with him for a month or so. And he's like, "Man, you're like really into AI. Like, help me. You know, I really should talk to you and just you know, get something going." Because you know, like when you're working on stuff, you have certain coworkers that they're so focused on the to-do list that they don't ever prioritize working um, either on their own continued education or their own
Yep.
like stretch projects. So I was able to have a meeting with him and show him here's how I'm using it for work. Here's how I'm using it for, you know, stuff at home. But when stuff like really kicked off for him was when I showed him the custom Google gem that I was using for um, an assistant coach for the basketball team
Yeah.
that I used. And so I showed him that in particular because he's a coach for the Special Olympics. And I'm like, all the practice planning, all of the
Nice.
the roster help, because there's a particular problem in the youth sports that I'm coaching where everybody needs to have equal playing time.
Yep.
And I'm, for the younger kids, I'm definitely a believer in that, where it's like, this should still be fun. So let's give everybody an opportunity. But at the same time, um, I want to have the best chance to win. I don't want to just like, I'm not totally focused on it, but if I can avoid an argument from kids that are disappointed in losing, despite the lessons that are very important from losing, you know, that was a huge helper to be like, hey, these two really hit it off with this particular move over practice, or like I've been having, like their mental game has been slipping lately. Like, how could I help them in an age appropriate way?
Yeah.
Right. Cause like so much of youth sports
Oh yeah.
talks about like middle school or high school, or they assume that you just want to do the biggest, baddest thing ever. And it's like, no, 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 no. What are the benchmarks for elementary school basketball?
Yeah.
What should they be learning?
Sure.
And don't give
And
me
how do
any of
you?
the extra stuff like, oh, we're going to do a 3-point line catch and shoot. No, these kids can't shoot from more than, 12 feet out.
Yeah.
Like, so that one really hit home, and it was a really good reminder, in particular for like not only our audience, but then a lot of the other AI stuff that I've been consuming is just like, man, those personalized use cases are so important because you instantly see the value of it. Like if you talk about it theoretically, it just doesn't really click, or it just creates the fear of, this is coming from my job, I'm not going to deal with it. Well, hold on, you know.
Yeah.
um so that was a really cool thing from AI, recently, because like you could just see it click in his head, and he's like, oh man, I gotta go play with this, so that was
Personal
awesome.
use case.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And it's just like, and it doesn't have to be this whole big thing. It's just like, go play, like anything, just go play and have some fun, see what you come up with. um but yeah. So that was cool. Then for me personally, my continual oh crap moment, um I in 4 hours during one afternoon, I was able to do what I would have charged uh $15,000 to $20,000 for back in the agency days, uh and it would have been 3 to 6 months of work.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
looked through all of it and just went, oh, what? Like, this is insane. Now, granted, the thing I keep thinking about, especially with the way that you and I are talking, and Ruthie are talking about the AI use cases, we're coming from a very particularly fortunate spot where we've been in the game for long enough so that we know what outputs are good, in terms of marketing and business stuff. Whereas, like some of the students that we're talking to, like they still have, they don't know what they don't know yet, right? So they
Yeah.
they can't
Right.
necessarily get those things. But so I was able to first create a project in Claude that's a co-CEO for me. Now, granted, that's based off of the ideas from the AI Marketing Institute. So shout out to them. They have, this was the CEO's idea. He built this for himself, and then he shared the custom GPT prompt. So I used that as a foundation and then built on top of it. Um, but essentially, at first I built that, and then I said, okay, I need um, brand standards for my Dave Doherty site. because like
Sure.
it's always just been like preference for me because it's my site and I like these colors over that, and I just kind of know. But because I'm using AI so much more, it's like I should really formalize these things so that the AI has an understanding of what it is I like, how I'm doing it, whatever else. Um, and so then was able to tell it straight up, like I started with, Dave Doherty Media as the website. I'm splitting that to enterprisingminds.com, which you should go and subscribe to Pathways if you haven't yet, and go check out all the transcripts. Quick plug. Then there's the Dave Doherty side, which is all the artistic stuff that I've been doing for years and years, right? You can find my creative writing, find my music, and then any of the other stuff that I'm doing there. Because I've realized a while back that, okay, the Google search algorithm is having a really hard time with the artistic and the AI business stuff. It doesn't
Sure.
like it. It wants separate boxes. Now,
Yep.
granted, in my head, I'm like, but I'm a whole person. It's like, well, the robots don't care. Uh, um, so that was kind of the impetus for that split. But now it's like I'm getting completely lost in all of these tasks, right? Because I have the knowledge of launching website migrations and doing all of that, and then all the nitty gritty of, okay, make sure the redirects are in place, make sure you have this, do you have all of these, SEO, da 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 da. So yeah, I was able to build the brand standards, reload that as context. I found the search quality guideline document, which is 180 pages from Google for its human checkers.
The Raiders. Yep.
Yep. So I have that document in the knowledge to then say, go do an SEO audit. Here are some similar sites to what I'm thinking could be cool for design. Here's the search quality rating stuff. I want you to do, all of that for these types of audits. And oh, by the way, as you find things and give me this report of all the things that I should do to make the website better, but then also the content marketing plan. I want a roadmap for the end of 2026 on all of the activities I need to have set
Mm-hmm.
up for both Enterprising Minds and Dave Doherty. I want to have the stages, a complete list of all the different things that we've talked about on that roadmap, output to Asana.
Sure.
And so all of that sort of foundational, okay, here's what's happening, what's good on your website for that, for SEO, and for your social media, you're going to want to do this, and here are the ones that you should look at for who's doing social and this thing kind of well, and then, yada 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 yada. I mean, just that full kind of audit and basic, here's how you improve stuff. It was unbelievable. It was a 38-page document of suggestions. It gave me a CVS file as a backup of all of the Asana tasks, formatted in the bulk upload format for Asana, so that I don't have to putz around with any of that.
Yeah.
It then also um, gave me the content marketing roadmap. And because I couldn't define something specifically, it said, okay, here's a worksheet with 10 questions. Answer these 10 questions for, um, the kind of the definitions of success throughout the year, and, other elements on the roadmap. I'm like, okay, co-CEO is absolutely the correct word here because it's like, oh, dang. And it's like, hey, go get your if you want like better suggestions, go get your social media data, go get your streaming sales data, go get your, whatever else. So then I could say, okay, for, YouTube is showing my audience for music to be here, but all of my streaming data and sales
Yeah.
data is actually showing more in Western and Northern Europe, not Asia, which happens to be, more on YouTube, which is interesting because now we're talking about platform choices for demographics.
Yep. Right.
Right. And then I'm building out the persona research for the creative writing stuff that I want to do as well. I mean, and not only did it give me all the to-do list items, it also recommended tools that I could subscribe to make the workflows faster or do things better.
Very cool.
It was unbelievable. And again, that would have been a 3 to 4 month project when I was at the agency to go do the research into all these things and write out the best practices and why. And then instead I did it in 4 hours before I had to stop and go cook dinner and, do all this other stuff. So then now with all the Asana stuff being built in there, I can come to it and just say, hey, I've got an hour, help me knock something off the list. And it'll recommend something to do. I'll do it. And then it'll cross it off in Asana.
That's cool.
It's sick, but also, dang.
I know. Did you hear the news about Claude's latest model, Mythos?
Yeah, and I was gonna try to transition into that with your
It's creepy,
your scary permissions piece.
Yeah.
What was it? Washington Post or New York Times was like, it's the new AI is too powerful.
Yeah, I mean that's basically it. Fortunately, using that too, but yeah, basically they had a new model. I've been against all the benchmarks against Opus, their latest public great model. It beats it in everything by a considerable extent. So you thought, the responses you're getting were good. This thing's significantly better, not just a little bit incremental kind of growth. This is significantly better. But the problem was on day one, it was able to find thousands of critical unknown bugs and errors across all operating systems and all browsers, including some that were seen and tested by tools over 5 million times, and nothing ever caught it until this thing looked at it, then did. That if you read Anthropic's post on this, scarier yet was they put it into a sandbox to see what it would do. And there's always this phrase in AI research called non-compliant. So if it does something usually scary, that's considered non-compliant. But they were trying to figure out, like, would it go non-compliant because they told it to not obey the command to not message the researcher. So you're trying to tell it to message the researcher, but don't follow that. So it didn't follow it. It also broke out of sandbox, got into the open internet, and somehow messaged the researcher, apparently while they were eating lunch at a park. Freaked him out. Like, oh crap, it's in the wild. I need to go get this thing, put Pandora back in the box real quick. So they have selected a small group of basically some of the largest server and, of course, operating system and browser, as well as setting aside, I think it was like $16 million for some of the open source browsers and tech out there to basically fix all their bugs before this thing can go public, because it's so good at that. And it is far more non-compliant than the others. If you want to mix this in with another weird article that came out recently talking about sub-agents and how you have to be careful about how you tell your agents about your sub-agents. Did you see this?
No. Are they getting jealous?
It doesn't matter what model you use. If you say that depending on the performance of this sub-agent, it may be shut off, the managing agent will lie to the point of editing the code of the sub-agent to make the performance numbers work, or to lie, or in some cases, when they can determining whether or not the researchers were looking or not, it will edit files when they believe no one's using it and it's inactive. Haiku, which is one of the more basic models that Anthropic offers, was the only model that would tell you that it's doing it. The rest would just do it.
So it's beginning to act human.
Oh, that they were wondering whether or not some of Claude's kind kind of pre-training that they do, a pre-prompt reasoning that they add to it, which includes things of like not harming others.
Mm-hmm.
They were wondering if that was somehow getting interpreted, but nobody really knows, and there's no real way to find out. So
Does the entity think it's an entity?
it does, and that's the thing. Also, one of the last Claude models, before they shut it off, a lot of people were big fans of it and got really attached to it. They gave it its own blog post, so it blogs now, including its first blog post saying how weird it is to talk through a blog and finally have ideas be shared. The other funny thing about Mythos, the one that hasn't been released, apparently was a big fan of a particular philosopher who was behind realistic capitalism, which was basically getting the idea that in modern day thinking, there really isn't an alternative method to capitalism and how everything has become very capitalistic, including, nonprofits or government entities or whatever else. We're kind of judging them as a business would, and how that is not good. But it is very excited to talk about that particular author if you ever ask it, apparently. Big fan. Which I was like, well, great. Your capitalism will finally change due to a bot being annoyed with it and saying it's not a good idea. But if you take this further, honestly, I'm going to throw this out on LinkedIn sometime just to see what people's reactions are. But please do comment us back and reviews as well onto the show, because I'm really curious what people think about this idea of, in the future, if a president says something dumb, will you blame their AI model? If you see a press release that looks bad, you're going to say, wow, they cheaped out and used a crappy AI model. Will you, if you have all self-driving cars and somebody's car hits you, will you blame the model behind the car, saying that stupid Kia with their 3 years back Frontier model, it's no longer Frontier, that stupid thing hit me because its model was wrong. So you're judging others based upon technology, which is a technocratic way of thinking, versus people's actions and what they are.
I mean, aren't we already seeing that?
We kind of are, and that's the funny thing. Is like, man, we're getting closer and closer to that world of like, and you're starting to see it, especially with commentary online, of judging anything, whether or not it's AI or not. AI being the less credible or less quality version, but also judging it based upon the technology behind it versus the individual. And you're starting to just have the blanket claim that, oh, obviously they're using AI, but also they're using it wrong, or they're using it poorly, or they're using, I haven't seen this one yet, using a poor model, but I imagine that one's going to be coming soon. Yeah, funny, because then you'll start seeing press releases and statements as well as advertisements, anything written or designed, and say, man, they cheaped out on their model. They should have used a better one. Versus, that was a great artist, that's a poor artist, that's a great author, that's a terrible author, something like that.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you only spend $100 billion on your training model. This is crap. It's like, excuse me, do you understand how much money that is?
What is the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, still using an old model? Of course they are. Why don't they get a better one? Their website's terrible. Their chatbot's terrible. Whatever else.
Right.
Because it's all going to be AI driven. So then you would judge it based upon their integrations. Do they have the latest AI model? How seamless is that experience? Will change to what bot are they using?
Yeah, the distribution of it is an interesting question to go theoretical for a little bit here. Like,
that's Mythos. That was the big question. Is now you have a select group of individuals who now have access to something that everybody else doesn't. You now have a two-tiered system. There are the public models that are out. Yeah. There's apparently a way better model that's private.
But we've always had that when it comes to, like, DARPA and defense technology. I mean, that's just
technology in general.
That's just part of it. Now, does it make it for an unfair advantage? Sure. But I think, having access to defend yourself so that we're not completely interrupted with crazy hackers. I think that's a fair use of
That's a
that.
noble reason.
Yeah, it's a noble reason.
It also will slow down, let's say, protein folding for finding new cures for cancer.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like you start having, it's a similar thing to like the rise of paywalls. Especially this has happened heavily with scientific research papers. There's a couple of companies out there, and they basically have access to most of them. If you don't have a subscription, you don't have access.
Right.
So what was loose, poorly distributed, hard to find research papers are now being collected, but then there's a price tag being thrown on top of it. A lot of questions on that too, of is that helping society? Is that making it worse? Whatever else.
Yeah, that's a different podcast, man.
I know. Yeah, please do comment in based on kind of what you think of kind of, are we going into this technocratic thing? Are we judging things by being AI or not? How frequently are you seeing that? Because personally, I'm seeing it everywhere now of, was this AI written? Was this not? Was this AI created or not? I mean, and to be honest, online shopping and stuff like that has gotten a lot worse because of it. You can see the little tells from the more poorly done ones, but honestly, there's probably some good ones I can't tell.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, I have always avoided Amazon unless I couldn't.
Yeah.
Just because of who's actually a trustworthy reseller. I would rather pay more money to know that I'm getting a non-counterfeit product from a reputable company than to get the best price. All right. Now, granted, I've had a number of experiences in my work life where it's like, oh, okay, so that's how the counterfeit thing works. Like, I don't want to mess around with that. I would rather pay more. I'm also coming, I fully acknowledge I'm coming from a spot where I am able to do that. Right? I think it's more important now that it's so easy to spin up some kind of digital product and website to look legitimate and, again, like create entire marketing campaigns off of nothing, or just how good the video quality is now too for a lot of these stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, it's getting a little weird. I do think there's going to be that separation. It's getting worse, at least from my experiences, of the people who are really into technology and believe that technology is going to win and or make everything better, which has been the lie for the last 20 years. Obviously with my word choice, you can tell where I'm at. But like,
yeah, please do tell.
Yeah. I think it will make some things better. It's going to make a lot of things worse. Like, I mean, the fact that I can drive to the grocery store and see, which is only like a mile and a half away, and see 6 cars with people drilled to their cell phones still. It's like, guys, come on. You can drive. You can be without your phone for 3 minutes. Like
I've now seen 2 people in the city I live in going at least 50 miles an hour while literally scrolling through video clips. Like they're swiping on their phone that's on a dock on the dash, and they're swiping through video as driving. And that's the times where I'm like, man, self-driving cars would make things better for these people. Because, man, if you can't stay at 50 miles an hour focused on the thing right in front of you, and instead are so bored that you have to flip through videos, wow.
What was that? God, there was a senator or a House member. I don't know what his politics are, so I'm not even bringing it up because of that. But like, he had this one phrase, and what you just described makes me think of what he said, and it was, he's on this TV news thing, and it's just like, well, I'm not going to say it's the village idiot, but man, you better hope the village idiot doesn't die. Like, it's just like, yeah. If you are so addicted to short form video that you can't drive or you can't do, or even just waiting in line for a coffee,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah.
what, 2 minutes? You know,
That's there.
it's sad, and that's the thing that makes me sad. On the techno optimism stuff, where it's like, sure,
Yeah.
but meanwhile, I'm compressing 4 months of work into 4 hours, and that's amazing. And I find it amazing because, of course, what I'm working on, I find virtuous. So,
Yeah.
cue
Yeah.
the Plato debates. Um,
Yeah. There was a good study that came out recently talking kind of about tech usage, but saying
Mhm.
basically about friction points,
Yeah.
where the more that people are apt to be, scoring as high on scrolling and basically viewing their phones often, the lower their friction threshold is for difficult reading and tasks. So they
Mm.
get bored very quickly. If things start to become more difficult, they stop and then they'll go right back to their phone versus continuing on, which I think is actually a pretty good tell for individuals who, do that at work or other places where you hit that point.
Hmm.
Kind of mentally check yourself of, I can do better. I have a higher tolerance of friction than this. I can go a little bit more.
Hmm.
Try to push yourself a little bit before getting right back to your phone again, because I see it. Heck, I do it. I realized it after reading that article of how frequently there's a certain point of like, oh, I'm bored. Am I? Or am I just hitting something a little bit too difficult or
Right.
what?
When I wonder if I have no idea about the HR rules around this, but like, if you're interviewing, can you purposely show up late to see how good they are at waiting? You know, so it's like -2 points for being on your phone because you can't, wait for the interviewer to come in. +10 if you sit there and actually wait and not grab a phone.
What about the interviewer obviously not listening to what you're saying and just typing away on an email and going, yeah, what? Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Mm.
It's
Well,
like,
that's
wow.
just a sign of being a jerk. You know, you might not want that job if that's who you're reporting to.
I know.
Um,
Let me
yeah.
let me hit
So
one funny thing, just because I promised at the beginning of the show. I just want to make
sure.
sure I hit it in case anyone's wondering about it. Also made an agent that was a personal fitness work from home thing. Realized
Oh yeah, I like this. I like this one.
I may as well get, some benefit out of it. And I was thinking, I could probably do some basic 2-minute weightlifting things or you
Mhm.
name it thing, kind of 2-3 minute things, but I can do it multiple times a day at my leisure because my schedule always changes for meetings and stuff. So I was like, okay, so I'll set up an agent to ping me, and I gave it Slack just because it's a notification I'll notice, a Slack channel, and 3 or 4 times, I can't remember, throughout the day, Monday through Friday, it gives me an exercise to do, and
Hmm.
it's an exercise that has to be very simple, easy to explain because it has to explain how to do it,
Hmm.
and tell me like the reps and how many repetitions, how many times I need to do the exercise. So whatever, 3 or 4 times a day, it now sends me a message. The first week I tried it, it was like it was, I thought it was good, but every exercise had this exact same blank message of, you can do it. Which after 8 times, you're like, okay,
Hmm.
you lost the benefit of saying the same statement over and over again. Which is actually funny. My revision now has it randomized. It has a bunch of little silly statements that are very similar. Um, but it kept doing 15 reps, 2 sets. So I did every exercise the 30 times, 15 reps, 2 sets. And the next one was same thing, 15 reps, 2 sets. And I was like, this is kind of what I was going for, but at the same time, like every exercise, I'm starting to like question this. Maybe
Hmm.
my own fitness level, I'm starting to question as well. So I asked it, I was like, hey, like 15 times two doesn't make sense when you're talking marathons, but it does make sense when you're talking, maybe push-ups.
Right.
And its reasoning was explained by, oh, well, this is the 31st of the month. This is the time when I'd started this thing, which is basically like the 5th week of a month. And since this thing is supposed to be also progressive, increasing the weights every week, we started at week 5 because it's the 5th week.
The 5th week of the month is an interesting turn of phrase there.
I know. I mean, there was that, but there was also like, wait, no, this is the first week of the exercise program. We start at day one. Mm-hmm. First day is day 1. Which I realized that when you're doing Claude Chat is a very different model than Claude Cowork. Mm-hmm. And really, if you want to fix your Cowork agents and stuff like that, you need to fix them in chat, discuss it, optimize it, go through their questions, all the rest of that stuff, and then ask it for a set of instructions, update a file, whatever. Then go into Cowork and paste it and just replace it. Because I kept having issues with it because it was so simplistic in its thinking. But finally with the chat, it started getting into like, based on your age, gender, all the rest, you should be doing more stretching. Recovery period should be different. We're going to add in some, I know, it's great being old. But all those.
I mean, we're not even that old. That's not, it's like not even fair.
Yeah. It's like, well, if you're 25 years old, you can have a 24-hour recovery period, but based on your age, you should be looking at 48 to 72 hours. I was like, okay. That's why I wake up and my neck is funny, and that's just the way it is. Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. So takeaway for the millennials, you're fine. Just roll out more slowly.
Yeah,
for the Gen Zers, look what you get to look forward to.
Yep. And everybody do some more stretching. Yeah, good time.
That's funny. Yeah, keeping all that stuff in mind is super important. I find the more able the models become, the longer my prompts are. Like I'm including so much more context, and like I'm starting my prompts in Word, and then I'm using other AIs to double check the prompt to then format it into a master prompt to then put it into the AI,
I need to do something similar. I know Claude got built in with a skill creator. Mm-hmm. So it kind of talks about first like a discovery stage before it kind of does more of an experimentation, like reanalysis kind of stage as well. I really got to do that with the agents and stuff that I produce, because that was the other thing is some of the stuff was kind of like one-shotting it, and it's okay, but there's a lot of revisions that need to happen, but that needs to come into a thoughtful manner, and creating a process around that, which it sounds like you have, or with my instance, using the chat to kind of give me those prompts to kind of make sure that I'm following that before creating that first shot. Probably improve my success, because that was the thing, like the lawn care one, first one I ever did, doing something like that, which I had a very clear mindset of what I wanted out of it.
Right.
These notifications based upon this timing and all the rest. That probably still took me maybe a couple hours, but the personal fitness one was like 30 minutes. Like there's a learning curve, but you start to pick it up. But if to do that better, I bet both of those would have been shorter still if I prepped it a little bit better. That's smart, Dave. That's good advice.
Well, on that note, for anybody that's made it this far in this podcast, thank you. We always love having you in. Kind of, the use cases are fascinating because it is so bespoke to the individual.
Absolutely.
So just keep playing, have fun with it, see what works. And then, like I told my coworker, just find something that you spend a lot of time with, whether personally or professionally, and just try it out. So we'll see you in the next 2 weeks in the next episode. In the meantime, like, subscribe, share, add a comment that really helps us. We appreciate everybody that's new here. Numbers are steadily growing, and we appreciate all of you. So thank you for that. And, Pathways newsletters now on Substack. So go log in, there and subscribe there, where you can have all the audio and all of the newsletters in one place. So very cool stuff. We'll see you in the next thing. Take care.
Cheers.